Let's talk about weights that other backpackers omit. What's going on, guys? My name is Dave, and this channel is Off Grid. And on this channel, I like to talk about all things backpacking, hiking, and gear. If you like that sort of thing too, please do me a favor and look at that subscribe button down below and that bell notification right next to it. If you click that bell notification, you will be alerted every single time I post a new video. So this week's topic is going to be all about, and it's not meant to be kind of like a hater type of video, but I'm going to call it like weights that I think that other backpackers omit, or things that I've kind of seen other backpackers kind of just not talk about as much. And I really wanted to bring that to light and basically say like they probably should be adding these things in or talking about these things whenever they're talking about a budget gear loadout list or any other list that they're talking about for, you know, essential gear items or anything else like that. I wanted to make sure that I covered those types of gear items. So these are things that I always make sure that I carry, and I make sure that I include in my overall weight list whenever I talk about it and let you guys know of it. But these are things that I've kind of noticed that other backpackers don't really talk about or don't really include into their base weight for one reason or another. I'm not really sure why, but let's get into the list today. I've got 6 main items that I'm going to talk about today, and the first one I'm going to get into is something that everybody carries on their person. I got it right here in my pocket. It's a cell phone. I highly doubt that most people, especially backpackers, are going to be carrying that in their pocket. It's kind of cumbersome. I actually do it for certain stretches, but a lot of people like to just have like nothing in their pockets or very lightweight things in their pockets because it rubs and you're out there and you're hiking for a number of miles. So they want to make sure that they're not really encumbered with these items in their pockets, and that, you know, is just one main reason why they don't do it. But you know, for the most part, people end up taking that out of their normal pocket and putting it into their hip pockets or their hip belt pockets on their backpack. And guess what, guys? It's in your backpack. That's going to be included in your overall base weight. So most phones nowadays weigh anywhere from the lighter end of like 6 ounces and up. So if you have a plus model, if you have a bigger model, if you have a beefier model with more memory or whatnot, I mean, you can get close to like half a pound with some of these phones, especially if you have a case on it or whatever. So that's definitely one big, huge item. I think that's probably why I put it as like, you know, the first item that I'm talking about here, that I just don't see other people talk about whenever they're doing their gear loadouts and talking about base weights. It's like, you know, a phone is something that pretty much everybody carries nowadays. I don't know of anybody who doesn't go out there with a cell phone, so it's particularly useful. I mean, you can shoot videos on it, you can snap a bunch of pics with it. It's my main camera whenever I'm shooting pictures when I'm out in the backcountry. So, you know, camera is definitely one of the big ones that I see a lot of people omit. The second one that I've got here for you guys is going to be kind of in the category of safety, and that is a can of bear mace. Now, some people legit like don't carry this, and I don't really understand why. I think it is a critical item. It's actually an essential gear item for me. I'm going to post that right up here for you guys to take a look at in a video that I recently did that was all about like the essential gear items that I always end up bringing. This is huge for me, not only because of where I'm located regionally in Southern California. We have a lot of bears in our area, but I mean, even if I wasn't in a high bear traffic area, I would definitely be carrying a can of this with me, because you can use it on any other type of animals or other people as well too. So it's just a really good form of safety, particularly because I don't carry a huge like bushwhacking knife or anything like that either with me. So having this definitely gives me a lot more peace of mind. It's just something that I don't see a lot of other backpackers talking about nowadays, particularly you know, when they're talking about base weights and getting their weights down as low as possible. You almost never see that included in other backpackers' base weights, and that's a hefty item as well. So it's sort of like the cell phone. It actually weighs more than a cell phone. That's closer to like, I think, almost 11 ounces, like a little bit over 10.5 ounces. So, you know, you can kind of see why other backpackers omit that, because it is a particularly heavy item and you don't 100% need it a lot of the times. But, you know, for me personally, I always like to have that peace of mind with me. I'll put it with me in my tent at night, just in case. You know, you never know when you're going to need that form of safety. So bear mace, and other types of bear safety or animal safety, I would say, would be another one on this list that I just don't see other backpackers really talk about that much. Okay, the next item on the list that I have here is going to be a satellite device. This is the Garmin InReach Mini. This is actually, I was teetering on this one because it's becoming a lot more popular nowadays with backpackers. A lot of guys are touting this from a safety perspective. It's definitely super great for that. It's also really good for navigating when you're out in the backcountry too. I have the Garmin Instinct watch. I can kind of combo them up and send an SOS from my watch if the device is not like in reach. What a meta joke right there. But, you know, it's really good to have an option to, call out for help, an SOS, if you get stuck somewhere. I really like this model too for a lot of other reasons. I'm probably gonna make another video just solely on this device here and why I like it so much. But I don't see everybody really include this all the time in their gear loadouts or as an item that it's just like a must-have that you have to carry with you all the time. It's important to have other forms of navigation when you're out there and not rely on any one particular device, but I definitely think that this is a must-have. So this is one of the ones that's kind of in the gray area. I think a lot more people are talking about it, but I don't always see this on everybody's lists, so that's why I threw it in there for today. The next item, moving right along here, is going to be, and this is another one that more people are talking about nowadays, but particularly if they're talking about lower base weight items, they're never really going to include this in there. But I think they're lying to themselves, because I think a lot of people end up carrying this next item more and more nowadays, and that is a backpacking chair. This is the REI FlexLite Air chair. The Helinox Chair Zero is extremely popular nowadays as well too, and basically what it is a 17-ounce chair if you have the bag with it. If you don't carry the bag, it's a 1-pound chair, and it's just really great to have an option once you get to camp after you're hiking a bunch of miles to sit on a chair and not on a rock or a log or the ground or, you know, sit pad or something like that or anything else. So it's really good to just get your butt up off the ground and sit in a normal style chair. It's a little bit lower profile, these lighter chairs, but it's really good to have a seat and to take a seat. I'm actually going to do a shout out right here in this video because it made me think of it, and it's a hashtag that a fellow YouTuber, Steven, over at My Life Outdoors, I'll throw up his info right here for you guys, so shout out over to him. He recently started a hashtag called Take a Seat, where he is basically promoting taking a chair into the backcountry for all the reasons that I had just listed and spelled out for you guys. So I'm definitely an advocate of it. I will always end up hitting the trail with a chair. I don't really care if I'm trying to go as lightweight as possible or not. That's always coming with me, and I'm always making sure that I budget a pound or 17 ounces in this case for that particular, what they call a luxury item. I call it a necessity. It's not even a luxury for me. So a chair is number 4 on this list. And then let's get on over into another piece of gear here. The next item that I'm going to get into is going to be in my other pocket. I have my cell phone in this pocket. I'm going over this one now, and this is just a chum's wallet. I'm not affiliated with any of these products here today. Again, just as a quick shout out reminders, but this is just a chum's wallet. It's a lightweight, low profile, like zipper style wallet. We can put cash in one side and cards in the other, but I don't end up carrying the full on wallet. But it's what's inside it that I'm trying to get to today, and that is I'm talking about keys and cards. So in a recent video that I did about my hiking tips, I'll post that link up here as well. One of the things that I had mentioned was, and this is specific to day hiking, I also applied it to my backpacking trips as well, and it's basically to say that, like, I always end up leaving the bulk of my keys and the wallet here. Like, you don't need everything in your wallet, but what I do end up taking is my car key, making sure that that's, you know, somewhere that I can easily get to it. I know where it is, so I'm not freaking out when I get back to my car and worry about losing it. But I also end up bringing some form of identification with me as well. So I end up just bringing like my driver's license, and I'll just leave everything else that's in here in my, you know, console or glove box or something like that, and then leave the rest of the keys in there as well. So I always make sure that my car key is on a different ring than the rest of them, so I can easily slip that off, and then I'll just end up, like I said, taking my driver's license with me. That's a very small item here that doesn't really weigh that much. I think, you know, grand total, like what is a car key and you know, an ID card really weigh? I think I actually weighed it out because I'm not really a gram weenie, but I like to just weigh everything anyway, and I think it's a little bit over an ounce, something like that. But you know, every ounce counts when you're out there, guys, and that is something that I never hear anybody else talk about, that you have to bring. And it is personalized, and it is, you know, some people might say, oh, you don't need your ID or whatever. I always like to bring it just in case in those emergency situations. You want to make sure that, you know, somebody can identify you and know who you are in case, you know, something, God forbid, happens. So, and then your car key you have to bring because you have to get out of there at the end of the day. So unless you're kind of like bumming a ride with somebody else and they bring it in their pack, particularly for the solo hikes and, you know, those solo trips, you're going to be carrying that, and that adds to the weight. It's not going to be in your pocket. So even though it's really small, that's an extra ounce or 2 ounces that is going to add to your overall base weight. So I might be, you know, stretching it a little bit there and kind of reaching a little bit with that item, but again, every ounce counts. So, you know, a car key and some form of ID is definitely something that I never hear anybody else talk about. All right, and the last item that I'm going to talk about today, I think this is number 6 here, is going to be, this is the only example that I have with me, is some form of additional clothing. So even if you don't pack that many pieces of additional clothing, if you just do like socks, this is just a pair of darn tough socks, or you know, a pair of extra undies or whatever, those are things that I never really see anybody talk about. I go overboard with it, and I actually pack extra clothes with me. That's one thing that a lot of people will frown against because it is quite heavy, but I don't like to be extra gross when I'm out there. So, and I don't go out there usually for extended periods of time. It's only a few days. So, you know, to me, I end up bringing extra clothes when I'm out there, but particularly, I mean, even the socks and the undies, they weigh extra, right? They're gonna weigh something. I mean, you know, a set of socks and set of undies, extra pair of like just both of those could weigh anywhere from like 1/4 pound to 5 ounces. So that is another one that, you know, these are all these like sneaky little nooks and crannies that I never really hear anybody else talk about. Now I hear other people talk about, you know, bringing these in other videos that they might shoot, other YouTubers that you might follow, but you never really hear them talk about their overall base weight when they list out everything and what they're bringing. You don't usually see clothes being packed or any one of these other items. Now, some people might list one item and not the other or whatever, but I just thought I'd wrangle up the most common offenders here today. So that's it. That's my spiel. I'm gonna get off the soapbox a little bit here. This is, again, in no way, shape, or form meant to be any sort of like hate type of video or geared towards any one particular person in general, but this is just a trend that I've seen just kind of around YouTube in general, of like other outdoor channels or other backpackers and things that I think that other backpackers omit. So thanks so much for watching today, guys. Let me know if you found any of this information useful down in the comments section down below. I really appreciate all the feedback that I get from you guys. And if you want to check out the other 2 videos that I've mentioned, I'll post them right here and here about the essential gear items that I carry, as well as my day hiking tips. You can check those out as well. Thanks so much for watching this week, guys. Really appreciate you. Remember, if you're headed off grid, make sure you do research and you make it a safe one. I'll catch you on the next one.